And at the end of the day, you left with a movie that was essentially two old drunk Navy vets beating each other up and then deciding that it wasn't worth it and that they would come back when they were drunk.
Welcome to Camping for Assholes.
What a hoot! What a hoot that movie was. That's how I'm going to start it off. Just to kick it off here, if we went to the theaters to see this movie, I think I would have liked it even more. But that's where I'm split on this one. For Godzilla versus Kong, which I think before we started recording, we definitely felt like it should have been Kong versus Godzilla, or Kong and a little bit of Godzilla. Well, whatever. It's a Kong movie mostly. But great action movie. And to my own personal opinion, to start it off, a terrible story. Like, abysmal. Didn't make any goddamn sense. But anyway, our guests tonight, we got Josh, Hunter, and Adam. And let's get into this. Are any of you like diehard Godzilla fans, Kong fans from like way back? Josh?
I did grow up watching them.
Yeah, I grew up watching those Toho pieces of shit when I was younger.
Not so much the King Kong ones, but I do remember all like Godzilla back in the day.
I was more fascinated with the villains, like the enemies and all the other kaiju.
Yeah,
more obsessed with them than the actual Godzilla. But yeah, I'm a Godzilla fan.
So when you watch like new Godzilla movies, does that put you in a place where you're kind of like you compare it, or you want to see the things that you saw growing up on it? Because I know there's a whole generation of Godzilla fans that like love the little Easter eggs that they still put in all the movies and everything. And to a person like me who's not too diehard into it, like it just comes off like even more cheesy. Because I know like the older ones, it was just like guys in costumes like dancing around like cardboard sets and everything.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It wasn't real, Hunter. It wasn't real.
My childhood.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like I got like when they redid this whole like reboot that they did. I mean, this is better than Godzilla 2000. I think we can say that. But I was excited. Like they kind of kept some things true to everything with like the old Toho movies. I know they had to sign on, and it took a while to get like this deal going to actually do these movies. But the first two of the reboots I really enjoyed. This one is a different conversation.
So okay, so anybody else from watching them as a kid to coming to them now? Do you make the comparisons or see or have followed the Godzilla saga all the way through?
I don't know that I necessarily followed it all the way through as in like a diehard. Watching them as a kid, it was obviously just more exciting because you were a kid and it was more believable to your imagination. I still enjoy them as much as I did. I mean, now I feel like it's less about the story and more about the special effects, obviously, but it's still just the idea of going in with an open imagination. You hear people complaining about like, well, there wasn't enough realism here. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot where all the 100-foot tall apes live on Earth. So I'm really sorry I fucked that up. But as a whole, go in with your imagination and have a little fun. The story just destroyed this one for me, but I went in with the same anticipation I would have as a kid.
Hunter, your thoughts?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, just like seeing it with like the CGI. I mean, like you guys said, we grew up watching like cardboard guys and boxes and stuff, and just like seeing like people in like the buildings and everything, like the actual size of them, kind of in a sense, was kind of cool. I still remember one of my favorite shots is like in the first one when like it's in that like little Tokyo and like it's kind of like foggy and like Godzilla walks up and you can just see like how big he is compared to like all the buildings around. I was like, yeah, that was, and then he just let out like the classic roar, and I was like, all right, that kind of gave me a little goosebumps, like a nostalgic goosebumps coming. So I mean, I like the first one was probably okay. I felt like they focused too much on like the human portion of like the story, and it's like, all right, we want to see Godzilla fight, which was only kind of the end. Spoiler for that one if you guys haven't seen that one, but and then the second one I thought was pretty good. This one, I mean, a lot of loopholes and cracks with the story, but yeah, like you said, overall action I thought was pretty good.
So when comparing the ones in this last trilogy or whatever, it was 3, right? I think I paid attention to it enough. So
yeah,
There's
Godzilla. Well, actually, no, 4 because there's Kong Skull Island.
yeah, but
I
that
guess.
doesn't count because that was discredited in this one because Kong Skull Island was like this dome. I don't think that was the same Kong. It was a different storyline. Which I thought
that is, I think, wasn't it?
No. I think they discredit that because the little girl in this movie. Yes, we are going into spoiler territory, just so everybody is aware. Apparently the backstory is the little girl was like the last of the native people that lived there or something.
Yeah.
And taught him sign language or whatever. So that was supposed to be.
I thought what I got from it is that was Skull Island, and they built that dome around him to like keep him kind of contained so Godzilla wouldn't come and find him.
Yes. Now I'm going to eat my words. I think you're right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to show you up on your first podcast, Jared. But I was just
Okay, so that is the same storyline. Then they're going to tie the Skull Island with the Samuel L. Jackson movie from a few years back. They were the same monsters. Now that I think about it. In the beginning of the movie, they showed clips of Kong fighting those monsters. Okay, so I'm completely wrong
and
here.
They had the Skullwalkers in that like containment lab that they were bringing over from the Bay or whatever of Florida.
This is what happens. This is what happens when somebody doesn't do enough homework or pays attention to these movies because I watch them, and it's just like this movie too. I can openly admit I watched it and like I don't remember shit from it. And I had to like rewatch like clips and stuff because I'm just like, what did I just see? Like it wasn't like when you don't give me a sound story, I'm always just kind of like, well, that looked cool, but I don't know. Like I couldn't tell you like.
Why is this happening?
This is also what happens when you have a ridiculous monster verse and you're just cramming things together to make them cool.
Yeah. Well, okay, so rewind back a little bit on that. I have a big issue with like the gap in technology between this current movie and the last one because it was more military based in realism. They didn't have crazy flying spaceships or whatever. And then we jump how many years between the last Godzilla movie and Kong versus Godzilla or Godzilla versus Kong? There's only a couple of years.
I think it's 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Because the Stranger Things or whatever chick was in the other one, right? The previous one?
I think she mentioned like 4 years since Godzilla did landfall or something like that.
I feel like there's a huge tech jump between the two movies because all of a sudden they're going like on Journey to the Center of the Earth to look for some power source or something. They're in these flying things, and I don't know. At one point, it becomes a defibrillator. It's not. It was so confusing to me because I didn't know if it was in the same universe or if we were spinning off a different one. And I thought the Kong movie might not have been related, but I think you're right on that for sure. So,
well, Kong was based in like the 70s, technically. I think Kong Skull Island. So yeah, that one would be technology like way back in the day because I think that wasn't like the 70s. Like,
I'm talking about the last Godzilla movie. Even it was like the military didn't have all this new tech, all these energy sources and all this shit. But maybe they figured it out after encountering Godzilla. I don't know. I'm confused. You guys got to carry me through this one a little bit, but I do have.
I agree. I think it did jump.
I hated the facial expressions that Godzilla and Kong shared. There was definitely like a look that they gave each other from time to time where Godzilla just kind of looked at him like at one point I think he was just looking at him like he smiled and when he just like kind of laughed at him. I think that happened.
There's a few times where it's just like Godzilla or like Kong I could kind of understand because he's like intelligent, he can like do sign language. Like I feel like facial expressions would make sense, but like I mean, a giant lizard is like, I feel like Godzilla is just hunting off a basic instinct. Like I'm the fucking king.
Yeah.
No one can top me. I'm going to go where the hell I'm going and I'm going to kick the shit out of whatever I come across. We're like,
but he knows mercy though. Which is
I guess.
I mean, let alone though, he's a fucking lizard, doesn't have the muscles required to smile on his face.
Now we're getting real technical here.
It was like a smile. There's a couple things too, like later, like at the end of the movie, it's just like
kind of like grinned and like kind of snorted his did the bull snort at him.
Before I watched this movie, I think I told Josh that. Okay, so before we get to like even more spoilers or whatever, I told Josh that without even seeing this, I guarantee you, Kong and Godzilla have to work together to take on the bigger bad guy, and they're gonna. And I'm like, and at some point they're gonna fucking fist bump each other, and then and move forward. Luckily, thank God they didn't do that, but they might as well have with some of the choices in that
Drop the axe. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they weren't going to kill off one or the other because this is their cash cow. But you know, it's really one of the strangest movies ever. Like the main character is Kong, which Godzilla is titled first. The main character gets his ass kicked. He's the one who loses
Twice.
It's very strange. It's a very strange movie.
Guys.
What was that, Hunter?
Maybe 3 times almost.
Yeah.
Because when we went down to Hollow Earth, that freaking pit viper thing, I'm pretty sure would have choked him the shit out if like they would have rocketed into the wings.
Yeah. Kong just constantly is getting bailed out in this movie.
Yeah. It's like, suck it up, man. Like fucking, you know.
Well, that's a good change up then. I guess I didn't really even get a chance to like take that in like as the main character. I know there was character storylines that had no bearing on anything. Like I said, with like the Stranger Things chick and the conspiracy guy, and I don't even. That's how bad I didn't pay attention to detail on this movie. This is like I don't even know their names as characters. Do you guys know their names? Because I feel like I'm just like nobody here can tell me the characters' names.
No.
That's how pointless.
I watched it. I fell asleep twice for like 20 minutes, and then I rewatched it again, and I was like doing other stuff. And then my wife and I watched it again today, and she fell asleep. And then I was just really upset at the end. Like, I've never really been a King Kong fan, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not knocking the movies, but I don't know many people who, when they saw Godzilla versus King Kong, thought, awesome, a King Kong movie. So, of course, the first thing I thought was, awesome, a new Godzilla movie. I'm in no matter what. I've seen some turds, but I'm hopeful. So I turned it on, and immediately I seen King Kong, and I'm like, okay, put the brakes on this for a second. You guys just kind of fucked me out of 2 hours because now I have to watch this whole thing and do a podcast about it. So I'm already upset, and now I'm watching it for like the 3rd time, and now more upset. And the story, like, let's start getting into this story a little bit. Like, and Jared, you can kind of lead the way here, but like, you've even kind of led into it. So the story revolves around a girl who can kind of talk to an ape who's currently in the Truman Show. Is how the movie basically starts.
Good evening.
Yeah,
it might as well said that.
Truman Show.
Just in sign language, he looks at the camera.
Oh, wouldn't that have been awesome if that's how they ended it?
Cut it out. Okay, so yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Good summary.
Well, yeah, I mean that's basically like I'm even okay with that concept. You know, like besides the fact that she taught him sign language with nobody noticing, even though he's in a dome being watched every moment. But yeah, I need somebody else to take the reins on the rest of the story because, like I said, I bits and pieces all through this. Like I don't know. After the dome scene, then where do we go? Like he learns, they figure out no, they got to throw him on an aircraft carrier or some shit, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, the geniuses here that run their Homeland Security or whatever.
No, what is the big bad or the company? I forget the. Do you guys even know the
Monarch.
name of it? Was it Monarch?
Monarch was the good one. Apex was the bad one.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Because they want humans to be the apex predators of the world.
So they were. Is it true that they were fucking with Godzilla just so they could have a wrestling match with their robot? Is that the behind the scenes?
I think they're preparing themselves for like a deterrent. Like if Godzilla did like go ape shit, or sorry, stupid dad joke there. Like if he did go like crazy, they like had something to like back him up. Like so. I think that's kind of what that was, in my opinion.
I got the vibe that somehow Godzilla could sense whenever the AI for Mechagodzilla was turned on. That's what I understood.
Okay,
what did you think he attacked Florida? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, let's rewind. Yeah, the attack on Florida. So that happens pretty early on. Or no, yeah, Pensacola. They attacked the facility.
Now, was that because of the AI, or do you think that was because they had those like skull crawlers in their base? I was thinking about that today. Because remember, they're shipping from Pensacola to Japan or whatever the battle was.
Yeah.
So maybe he like sensed them there. I don't know.
I'm so overly confused on like what I saw.
I don't think the writer's not that far into it, but
yeah, my big thing was like, why is Godzilla so mad? Like, why is he pissed? Like they never really explain that too much. Like, and I looked it up, and there was a few people that came up with basically the same theories, but like they never really explained like why is Godzilla so mad that he's now interrupting the Truman Show to to fight a transformer. Like we've got so many. Was Michael Bay involved in this?
I was gonna say that too. As in one of my notes, it felt like a Michael Bay movie. It really did.
Explosion.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, because it like the continuity of like Godzilla's like I guess dominancy. Like why didn't he like just start fucking up those other kaiju at the end of King of the Monsters? They all kind of like circled around him and like bowed to him like, okay, yeah, man, uncle, we give up. You're gonna kick the shit out of us. And then he just like screamed, and that was kind of it. It's like, why isn't it like the same thing with now he's all of a sudden like, hey, there's like 10 baby skullcrawler eggs over in Pensacola, Florida. Let's go fucking burn them all. It's like, are those really a threat?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't it. There was some energy source there or something in a ball, like an explosion. Yeah, the AI.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Is that what it was?
I think that's what they were after, but I don't know what that was. I don't know what I saw. It's just like it was so poorly explained from a person coming outside. I feel like if you're a diehard, you probably get a basic enough gist of like what's going on. But for somebody like me who's not, I'm completely lost. I'm just watching shit explode, and he's attacking Florida. I'm like, why is he attacking Florida? I don't know. And then the 11's like, no, he's good. We got to save him. So let's go there. Like two kids, like younger people, just like nothing made sense to me. I'm sorry.
Well, and then,
That's where you just fill in the gaps, make up what you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a create your own movie that you have to pay for.
Yeah, I love that.
I gotta bring up something too. That could you find a more unlikable fucking kid than I get? A kid's name is Josh. Julian Dennison, who plays that pukey little fuck on Deadpool. What an unlikable fucking face that kid has. Holy shit.
That's where he's from. The whole time I was watching that movie, I'm like, where's that kid from?
That's that fucking brat ass kid.
I didn't actually care that he was in it. Like, it didn't matter. That's all. None of that mattered.
Well, no, it didn't. But his face just made it worse.
He wasn't like Jar Jar Binks level, but it was I thought he was pretty fucking annoying.
That'd be intense. Okay. So let's carry on. So he attacks Florida, and then he moves on to. They're moving Kong for some reason because they want Kong to go down a hole and find some new source of energy or some shit that apparently they already have the hole figured out, and then somebody went through it and died or whatever. I forget who the tie down was.
The scientist's brother, like the guy from True Blood or whatever is Eric.
Yeah.
Was that the previous film, or was that just thrown in there?
I think it was off camera kind of stuff that happened. I don't think the Antarctica thing was ever talked about or shown.
So they're on the aircraft carrier, and Godzilla is going to attack Kong on the aircraft carrier. But why though?
That's what I kind of mean. Like, where's the line in the sand? Like, all right, like this guy could potentially be a threat that I just kind of know from 1,000 miles away. I'm going to go mess with him now instead of whatever the hell I'm doing here. Right. I don't know.
Well,
and then they shut the engines off. Like
the what?
They just shut the engines off, and they're like, he just turns. He's like, thanks. Just turns and like swings away. I believe I've made my point here.
Well, and then the logic, it's like the woman who was in charge of Kong, apparently, this one woman who gets to make all the decisions. She's just like, that's gonna be fucking suicide if Godzilla meets Kong. And then she's like, Kong bows to no one. But then they're gonna put him on a fucking aircraft carrier where Godzilla reigns, fucking like thrives in the water. They're gonna put a monkey on a platform and drag him across the ocean and hope that he doesn't get fucked up. You kidding me? Oh, now we'll fly him. Now we'll fly him in the air. That's a great idea. Not to mention the time it takes to fly versus fucking swimming in the ocean. Fuck, I'm done.
I don't even know. I don't even know. Like,
you just lay on this floaty. Good luck.
He got the shit knocked out of him.
Rubber ducky shape.
they
Big rubber
they
ducky
decided
floaty.
they decided to fly him to where where was the other
Antarctica. I think it was Antarctica, wasn't it?
okay.
something like that.
Yeah, because they
Okay.
had to like trick him, be like, "Hey, there's family down that hole," or like fucking
Yeah, that was another thing
pedophile
too,
with a
that
creeper man.
that was weird too, that like everything about this movie was so bizarre to me. So okay. So the Samuel L. Jackson Kong is the same Kong. So after that, they went there and then put a globe around it, and then that's what they've been doing there. So they didn't fill that up. Maybe there's a comic or something to fill that gap, and I have no idea.
I
Kong
don't know
gets
how they built
Kong
that
gets
without him
raised up
noticing.
in a basket, and they fly him across, and they drop him off in some snow. And like they have to convince him to go down this hole. At one point, he like looks down a canyon at a bunch of just frozen air, and they think he's gonna run away. and then
Yeah.
what was the deciding factor? Like
The little girl did. He like was like your family or something, I think, or didn't she say that? Like your family could be
Yeah.
down there or something.
Yeah,
And
and
he's like,
then-
oh sure, okay.
And then he just goes into this hole and starts running. And at one point, this tunnel opens up to a vast open space with no direction. Like it's almost like the Mines of Moria or whatever on Lord of the Rings. Like there's just chambers and huge, this massive area. But yet he knows exactly where to go. He's just like,
And like, what was with like the dimensional portal crap they went through? Like, what is
Yeah.
like? I never get that. Like, is that some sort of magnetic barrier that we're supposedly
that's
supposed to
a
have?
massive shit ton of radiation
Oh, okay.
that they just go through. Kong's fine. He's already made out of radiation. Apparently, they just threw that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They fucking go through that. So they follow the Kong down into there, and then all of a sudden they find a throne room, and apparently there's a fucking axe in there, which is made out of a piece of another Godzilla. So apparently there's a lot of Godzillas or anything. I have a major problem with this whole movie that I'm going to bring up at the end here, but I'm kind of speedballing it along here. He fights the bat lizard monster, drinks its blood. Gets to the throne, and then Godzilla's like on top of the earth, like walking around. He's just like, like drills down at him for no reason. Like you can just sense that Kong sat down on a chair, or he put the axe into the fucking. No matter, not to piss anybody off watching this that is a big fan of the series and everything. Like I understand why you like it, but nobody on this earth can convince me to fully like this movie. I'm just gonna say that now. As I think about it and talk about it, it gets worse. It gets worse. The axe is made like a piece of shit, but yet it's strong as fuck. Puts it down in the thing, and then Godzilla's like, "What are you doing?" He spits down the hole. Then Kong just climbs out of it. Don't worry about that portal thing that you went through. That's no longer there.
Yeah.
Just go. Then Kong has a heart attack, and then they defibrillaze him back to life. And then there's a robot dinosaur that's controlled by a guy tied into the brain of Ghidorah.
Yeah,
That's
it's controlled by
DNA
Hideo Kojima. It's controlled by Hideo Kojima, and he's playing the ultimate video game, and he died.
Yeah, what happened to that one? Where he's just like, it's like
the whole like Hollow Earth made no sense. Like was there civilization down there? Like, or I mean, like they had
Just
monuments built.
there's just a
And,
bunch of
like-
Kongs, a bunch of technologically advanced Kongs.
that they like somehow were able to like etch a little like axe opening into the ground. They're like, this is the power. Like set this in here, and you like juice up the entire like area. Like I don't know.
But why?
No
But why
sense.
though? Why would they want to do that as Kongs? Like to watch TV? There's no purpose to any of this. There's no real purpose.
Down there is part of a ritualistic trap. Human beings have been trapping Kongs for years because apparently Kongs have a disposition to shitty human friends. Like, hey man, follow us. We won't let you down. Go down the hole. We won't let you down. Sucker. It's like a family tradition. If you get married, you have to knock a Kong down the hole.
Holy shit.
Jared's losing it.
I like that. I like that a lot. Oh man. Okay. So to wrap it up, Kong and Godzilla fight. Then Godzilla kicks the shit out of him. Kong gives up, and for some reason that means his heart's got to stop. So they get a defibrillator robot spaceship, land it on him, and blow up his chest, and that means he's good to go. So he instantly wants to fight again, right? That's what I would do if I had a heart attack. And he goes and fights the robotic.
Round 2, fight.
What do you call that? Mecha Godzilla?
Yeah. Mecha Godzilla,
which is
Like
Ghidorah's
the
spirit that took over somehow. So it's like thinks it's alive.
Yeah,
I didn't get
there's
that either.
that. Yeah, we just got done making a huge leap in concept. Like anything that makes sense. Now we're gonna have a skull that somehow still has telekinetic abilities.
And it's gonna control a fucking robot.
Like I said, nothing you can say can get me to like this movie.
I see no problem with that whatsoever.
As eye candy, as eye candy,
Had a stroke and turned Irish. Eye candy.
as eye candy.
There you go.
And seeing it in the theater, it could have been fun. It's kind of how I felt the first time I watched Jurassic World. First time taking it on, I was like, okay. And then when you start thinking about the things around what you just saw, that's when things start falling apart and you're getting pissed. Okay, I'm going to go through some of my gripes. And if you guys have things, who can say that they actually liked the movie, which is totally fine if you actually liked it for what it was.
I can say something positive about the movie as far as I actually thought they did a good job with Kong overall as far as his character, because he's the only character I actually like felt something for. Like there were moments where like, you know, when he fucking like I legitimately felt sorry for him in some instances, you know, where he like I was actually more into like where's his family, like this poor monkey, you know.
So
but like he's the only character I really felt for, and like I said, I think early on with you guys, the dialogue, the sign language is the most compelling dialogue in the movie. It really was. I mean, it was the only thing that was somewhat, you know, riveting. But
Spoken from the heart.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, I feel like if it was a B movie version of like, you know, like they did like the Chinese knockoff version of Pacific Rim that was actually kind of good or whatever.
Atlantic
like if
Rim.
it was that kind of, if it was like a B movie knockoff and they had made it very clear that it was a King Kong movie, I think I'd have been cool with it. Besides the opening fight, where I feel like they edited where they shouldn't have, like that fight scene, they switched camera angles so much I got lost in where the fight was. Besides that, I thought the special effects were good, like the film itself was really good. I feel like I would have enjoyed the movie had they said this is a King Kong movie, and if it had the feel of just being, hey, like this is just a fun knockoff, one-off movie that isn't supposed to make sense, but the fact that they pitched it as like a Godzilla movie that was part of a story pissed me off.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know, like a Freddy versus Jason kind of thing. Like, you know, everyone wants to see if they fight each other. Let's just throw them in the ring and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I enjoyed it more because like, you know, Logan and Liam, my boys, loved it and they were just like Jack. So I think I was like enjoying it with them kind of a sense because, you know, they're just jumping up off the couch when like, you know, they're laying haymakers on each other and stuff. And then, so I mean, you know, that was kind of cool and stuff. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like the more and more you picked it apart, like the last week, like thinking about it, I'm like, gosh, like there's so many like loopholes and like, I just feel like, I don't know, like I was excited about the, like this monster verse that they're trying to create, but like, I don't know where they go from here in a sense, I guess, you know, it's like, because it's like Godzilla's always going to kick Kong's ass. Like, I thought maybe you'd have a fighting chance with that axe thing, but he like clipped him right in the head when it was like fully juiced, and he just kind of like, oh shit, well, whatever, like went right back at it. Like, you know, it's like, you know, but then it like freaking cut off the metal arms of everything, or the Mecha Godzilla, like no problem. But I don't know. I mean, like you said, for what it was, action movie, enjoyed it, I guess. But yeah, theater would have been a lot cooler, I think.
No, for sure.
All right.
Well, one more thing too. Was there any fight scene that was in this movie that was not pictured in the trailer? I feel like every trailer showed every fucking fight scene. And
Did they show Mechagodzilla in the
other than
trailer?
that,
no, they
yeah,
did show Mechagodzilla. Yes, the exception to that because that was their big surprise.
even though
Which
they
somehow
like showed
Jared
like
figured out.
they showed
without even
Mechagodzilla
knowing
and like the
anything.
blueprints in the background of one of the scenes in the trailer. But yeah, I think because they showed Kong like tail whipping one of those like flying viper things. So I was like, well, you know, that's gonna happen somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I got a gripe about trailers nowadays. Anyways, it's like they leave nothing to the imagination.
Nope.
I mean, go back and watch like Alien trailer, like the first one. They literally showed jack shit, but the movie was awesome. You know.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna get my gripes off my chest here. I kind of touched. I'm gonna touch base. I have a few written
Your
down.
shoulders look heavy, Jared. Get it off your shoulders.
I already talked about the. Hold on. Somebody's got my reference a little loud, by the way. I don't know if that's Josh because he doesn't have the headphones. Just saying. Okay,
like,
so
no,
We don't call people out, Jared.
sorry. No, that's the next video.
Oh, sorry.
So
You're on your own, Josh.
I brought up the first part. The facial expressions just pissed me off. Any kind of cheese like that in a movie always drives me nuts. Okay, the scaling seemed incredibly inconsistent to me. He's laying on an aircraft carrier. Then Kong is like as high as like a fucking, what I would imagine like a 75 to maybe 80 foot tall type thing. In general, like imagine the first Kong or the original Kong where he climbs the fucking Empire State Building. He's way the fuck up there. He falls and he dies because it's such a fucking fall. And this one, the scaling starts around that size, but then at the end he's like climbing up a building and he's only halfway up. You know, half his body's on the top, the other half. So if he falls, it's not a big deal. And Godzilla seemed like this massive thing, and like especially the first new Godzilla movie. I remember like when they showed him, he was like the size of a fucking city. And then it just like, I feel like they don't have consistency in their scaling. I don't know if you guys got that vibe at all, but I felt like the scaling was all over the place.
well, how big's an aircraft carrier? Like 100 yards?
They get bigger than that, but yeah, I mean, they're
100 yards.
But he still wasn't like the full length of an aircraft. Yeah, I know what I mean. Yeah,
even comparison the touching of the little girl to the, the fingertip or whatever. Like, you imagine like the size variant would be like, maybe that's just
than in Skull Island. Because I know in Skull Island they kind of like mentioned, like John C. Reilly for some reason was in there, mentioned how like he was just a kid and he's not even fully grown yet. They were like talking about that and they're like, did he get bigger? Because I mean he had like a man beard in Godzilla vs. Kong compared to like Skull Island. So I don't know, maybe he grew up, but
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just felt like the scaling was off throughout the movie. Maybe that's just me. It sounds like I was the only one to pick up on, or I was bothered by that.
Very important to remember that Godzilla is a very Jonah Hill type actor. He can put on and lose a lot of weight for different roles.
I think we got there. We talked about detection. Yeah, I think I talked on everything that I was concerned about, and the Ghidorah ghost channeling the powers to fight at the end was too much. Like the guy's fries and all that stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I'm on my own opinion on this. I just nothing you can say will make me like this movie. I was hoping somebody would try to convince me.
Here's my one optimism for the movie is that we talked before about where the movie could go, and my one hope for this is that they bring back kind of like a Marvel universe kind of thing. Like they start bringing back like Giran and Gamera and a bunch of the old terrible movie monsters and start making like Justice League of the Japanese monsters. That would be like a dream come true if they started doing something ridiculous like that. Otherwise it's just a turd, man. And it's a bummer.
All right.
Yeah,
it's tough to go from here.
Yeah, I mean the stuff would have to come from space, like the Gigan and all that other stuff. Like,
yeah, what did come from wasn't Destroyer like one of the big ones that came from space or something that messed Godzilla up? Yeah, I feel like it's like almost like in today's day and age how like things get stale so fast. Like, how do you keep it fresh? Because it's like you can only have so many like Godzilla battles. I feel like where it's like, I mean, I felt like the King Ghidorah battles were pretty good because there's like. I feel like Kong kind of had him in Antarctica almost in a sense, and then fell through, and then he got his ass kicked. Then Mothra saved him, but like that was kind of cool because it was like balancing everything, and it was kind of cool seeing like Mothra in the film because it was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember Mothra being like another good kaiju back in the day. But yeah, it's tough because I feel like they pumped out so many back in the day, of just kind of these cheesy like freaking other kaiju that fought Godzilla. It was like, oh, what
if we just get like an ultimate battle of any giant creature? Like, can we throw Stay Puffed in here? Like, can we get some other ones just off the top of our head? Let's throw some other ones in this battle royale.
I hope that we get to a point where they take the focus off of like the big flash and start focusing back on actual storytelling, because I feel like that's an art form that is slowly dying out, because it's just like, it's just more and more action, more and more of this, bigger than that, bigger than this. Let's go. Like it doesn't, like you lose so much when you put so much focus on just like I said, the eye candy. You put so much time and money into that, and then what does that even look like to you when you're watching it? It just looks like fucking chaos, and you don't have any like grounding or any care, because you have no story to support the emotional side of the movie. So I hope that changes. I don't know. That's my.
Well, not even said, but honest to God, I mean, if you had 2 hours of them just fucking beating the shit out of each other, I'd rather watch that than those. The problem is like you have the problem with like Marvel and DC, right? Where like DC took itself way too serious early on, and then you get a movie like Aquaman, and everything feels fucking weird, right? Marvel is very whimsical, and it just kind of doesn't take itself very seriously, and it is what it is. They broke the fourth wall on that. They're just kind of like, this is just, here it is. The problem with Godzilla is when it first came out, it was like the super gritty. You had Bryan Cranston there acting his ass off for this little tiny role, and then and then they kind of broke that wall with the King of All Monsters, where he was like, okay, let's get fucking crazy, and it was very much focused on. There's a lot of screen time on fucking Mothra, Rodan, fucking all these monsters, and it was like really cool. Then they went back to fucking human stories in this one, and that's the problem. It's like, who gives a shit? We're not here to see little fat kid. We're not here to see him save the day. We don't want to see that shit. We want to see them fight. And that's so yeah. If you're gonna do a story, you might as well reboot the whole thing. Otherwise, let's just have fun and watch monsters kill each other. That's how I feel.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like nobody goes into monster movies for a dose of reality. Like that's the opposite.
And that's a fair approach to that. Telling somebody that like me, where I'm like, man, it's just too much. I can't fucking believe this. It'd be like, you're watching Godzilla versus Kong. It's like, fair enough. Like that's very true.
Oh yeah,
So,
I gotta add into like your gripe, Jared, because this is the one thing that just annoyed the hell out of me. When Kong stuck the axe into the axe USB port slot down in the floor, Godzilla was just like, wait a minute, who fucking turned the lights on at home, and just like aimed fucking perfectly down. Like, fuck, how far is it to the core of the earth?
A few hundred feet.
It's gotta be more than, yeah. He could hear it on the other side of the fucking ground. He's like, oh wait, over there, right here. All right. But he just like shoots a blast perfectly, where he basically has to jump out of the way because he's about to get hit by it. Like that when that part happened, like, Logan and Liam, my sons, were just like, awesome. And I'm like, fucking bullshit. Come on.
Yeah, I brushed over that a little bit, but yeah, that's a better description of it. It was. I couldn't remember why that happened, but yeah, that's
maybe it's that's his superpower. He just hones in on any sort of power surge of some sort in the whole.
I don't understand. Like, not to get like at the end of this, we're gonna give the movie a rating, but I think I lost my train of thought. Like, I don't know. You guys ready to rate this? Piece of shit.
That's at the core of the earth actually isn't molten rock. It's a fucking
happy land.
Now the earth makes no sense.
It's sub-basement.
Yeah. So
imagination land.
So the end is like a scene where they're all happy and down there like existing, right? And they're watching Kong. Oh, it's morning time. There he goes. Oh!
Here he comes for his evening walk.
And it's like, you guys remember there's like crazy fucking monsters that will eat the shit out of you. Like, no, it's fine. Well, that little chicks can just go run around. It's fine. Should be fine. She's got Kong to watch her. It's Kong. Anyway, let's give this. Okay, so you guys got to give it a grade of either a marshmallow, a hot dog, or a pudgy pie. Adam, let's start with you. Explain why you give it.
So I feel like I've got to give this one a rating of a hot dog because by not telling me that it was a King Kong movie, you kind of slid something odd shaped in a place I wasn't expecting. And at the end of the day, you left me with a movie that was essentially two old drunk Navy vets beating each other up and then deciding that it wasn't worth it and that they would come back when they were drunk and talk about it and then maybe fight some more. So, yeah, we'll go for a hot dog. And if you haven't seen this movie, you can check it out if you want, but it's a hot dog.
All right, Josh,
Nice.
what do you got?
I'm gonna give it a marshmallow. Reason for being is that I feel to chew a marshmallow by itself in its raw state is
Oh,
uncomfortable.
raw marshmallow even.
Yeah. All right. It's very uncomfortable. It's not very enjoyable unless you're a child. This is a marshmallow.
That's brilliant. Hunter?
I guess we got to keep it fresh. I'll go with the Pudgy Pie because I feel like the outside of the Pudgy Pie looks very appetizing. You know, you're just like, hey, shit, I'm ready for this Pudgy Pie. But then you take that first bite, you're like, fuck, someone put like just ketchup and mayonnaise inside of this, like with a touch of peanut butter because I like peanut butter. So there's hints of it that I like. But then there was ketchup and mayonnaise that just like was kind of like, fuck, this just something's not right about this. You know, the outside appearance looked great. You know, the trailer had me going, but yeah, the inside of the Pudgy Pie was just it was a curveball, caught me off guard.
Nice. I give Godzilla versus Kong 2021 the rating of a hot dog because no matter what you fucking dress on a hot dog or whatever, you're still eating fucking lips and ass, and that's all this piece of shit was. So
Lips and asshole.
just lips and asshole. All right, guys, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Thank you guys for joining me on episode 1 of Camping for Assholes. We're definitely going to do this again, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Hey, thank you guys so much. Make sure you consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. It makes a huge difference in growing Camping for Assholes, and then you can keep up with our weekly content.